Good morning. Hi, Andrea.
Morning, Michelle. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you. How lovely to have you with me this morning, bright and early on this freezing cold Monday morning in Melbourne.
Yes, it's quite chilly, but hey, that's what happens when it's winter, right?
Oh, that's exactly right. Exactly right. So I will just get us started with an intro and just say to our followers and our listeners and our viewers, good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet of ours. Today's show is for those lacking the skip in their step, the sparkle in their laugh, or the twinkle in their eye. And I'm sure that we've all lost that or lacked that at some stage in our lives. Today we're discussing how to ignite your joyful comeback. And interestingly enough, your life doesn't have to be terrible to lack joy. You may just feel a little empty knowing that something's not quite right and you can't put your finger on it. Maybe you just know that there should be something more to your life. Is there something more that you can do, more that you can achieve? Do you see it in others? Do you see that spark? Do you wish it were yours? Well, you can have it too. And thank you for joining us to help our guests and our listeners and our viewers to get their joy on, Andrea.
My pleasure. Why wouldn't you be happy talking about joy?
Oh, and it's beautiful, isn't it? I've got a stack of questions lined up, and as per usual, many times we don't actually get to all of the questions because our listeners will be asking questions as we go along. So we'll just flow, shall we? Sit back and enjoy.
Great idea.
Beautiful. So for those of you that don't know me, my show and my group, I head a group called Entrepreneurs Globally Unite, and it is for spiritual entrepreneurs, and we bring global experts weekly to the show to highlight and shine on business, energy, vibration, and all things spiritual. We're a heart-centered group, and it's my pleasure today to introduce Andrea Dix to the show. Andrea is a health, fitness, and well-being expert, author, a new author, accomplished speaker, and a mother of one. She's passionate about helping people enjoy rather than endure life. She teaches how to live through inspiration and as a result is spending more time in joy. Andrea truly believes that when you understand the simplicity of living your life through your highest values, magic happens. I love that. She instills these in her programs, workshops and speaking and adds her own relatable, engaging nature and sense of fun to teaching that joy, that it's the key to a beautiful and purposeful life. So as a listener, the key and the question to ask yourself right now is, could you be happier? And if your answer is yes, then buckle in and enjoy the ride with us for the next half an hour. As I'd just like to invite you, Andrea, if you have anything that you'd like to add to the intro before we get going. Have I missed anything?
No, I think it's really hard. I always find it challenging when people say, give me 100 words about because I couldn't give you so much more. How do you fit all your life into 100 words? But I think that's the crux of it. Me being where I am right now, everything that I've learnt so far has shaped me into the person I am now. But it's only come because I wanted something more for myself. There was everything you just said about lacking that sparkle and that twinkle, that skip and a step. That's led me to, searching for what is the key to making that happen.
Good plan. And we have met. We met at a meetup group, probably I would think it would be about 18 months ago now. And I'm marvelling at both of us, and we should both give ourselves a pat on the back because we were both a little lost then. We were both looking for that something more. And look at us now, sitting here on a live TV show, talking about it.
I know. I think when your meetup was one of the very first ones I started going to.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And it was just my foray, start stepping out into that networking world. And I was a personal trainer for 12 years, so I ran my own business. and the majority of the clients that I had were all women. And they came to me not only with their weight issues, but I saw underneath that it was nothing to do with their weight, that it was a lack of self-love, it was a lack of self-worth. It was they and it was quite an emotional journey, to be honest. And the thing is that it kind of mirrored everything that I had been through for myself. So I spent most of my life growing up feeling invisible. And, you know, nothing traumatic happened. It's just that I made the decision that that's how I would look at my life, that I felt invisible. And so I went searching for something that would make me feel the way I wanted to feel. So to my personal training journey, I kind of became clients anyway. And yes, we trained physically, but we spoke emotionally. So we spoke about what was going on for them. You know, we'd meditate sometimes. We would, you know, we'd go there. We'd dig deeper into what was going on underneath. So for me, that became far more fascinating, and I just became fascinated by the psychology underneath all that. And so I went and did some study, and I knew that eventually I would, you know, evolve into that coaching space, I guess. So early last year, I decided that I would do that. So I shut my business and the personal training side of things, and just launched myself into the teaching and coaching space.
That's really special, which you were, of course, doing almost incognito with your clients in the early days of your personal training.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how we sort of morph into where we're going before we even realise it.
Absolutely, but I just became fascinated by it, and I just wanted to know more about how I could help these women in a way that wasn't just related to their body. So we had to dig deeper.
Absolutely, yeah, that's very cool. And that, what's the difference, Andrea, between joy and happiness? Can you sum that up? Because that's a question that's always played on the tip of my tongue. I grew up wondering what actually is happiness. You know, there's certain things in life that we need to understand that we're not really ever talked about in the open, are they?
Well, no, it's a really good question, because you assume that they're probably the same thing. That I've done and how it's a different feeling. So for me, joy is an internal sense of knowing or being at peace with who you are. So it's an internal feeling. So joy is really triggered by that peace, being at peace with knowing who you are, what drives you, and loving yourself warts and all. So it's a constant flow, whereas happiness can be triggered by external things. So it can be triggered by circumstances, situations, things, events, people. So I truly believe that joy is triggered by outside things as well. But I believe it's our thermostat.
That's nice. And I love that description. Thank you. So, yeah, it's an inside job, joy, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's my favourite saying.
Yeah. You can't rely on anyone else to bring that to you. You've got to find that and nurture that within yourself before you can radiate that out to the world.
I agree, totally. And you just know that sometimes when you hang out with people, you just kind of know there's something different about them, and it is their energy. It's something that comes out of them that you just can't help being attracted to and being drawn to.
So you're right, and I've noticed and I've looked at people, not so much now because I feel that I have that internal joy, and there's times that is questionable. Of course, we're human, but you do notice these people that are full of joy when you're out and about. They pop. You just want some of that, you know. It's just you can see it. It's magnetic. How do you know? How do you get that?
Well, there's something I had to learn how to do, and it took me a long time, I have to say, because I just, you know, like anything, I started looking for outside things to make the change. So it took me a while to actually get that it came from within. So I went to personal development. It really is spending some focused time with yourself and learning to really love and embrace everything about yourself. And that's really hard and challenging for a lot of people. It was really hard and challenging for me, but there was some part of me inside of me that just will not let this go. I will make this happen for myself because I wanted it so desperately.
Where did you start with that, Andrea?
It began when I was 30. My husband and I separated when I was 30. My son was about 5, and I was just lost. I was just so lost, and I just started. I went to Landmark, if you know Landmark Education.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my first kind of step into that world, and I started like hearing things differently, but you know, it still took a long, long time after that, and I think it was just doing work after work. It's layer after layer of doing different things, reading, until one day it just clicked. I just go, oh, it's me. It's you know, I always say that if you go to people, if you go into different situations, different relationships, you're the common denominator. So you have to be the one that is an amalgamation of everything that you want for yourself. So I had to do the work for myself. And, you know, meditating and gratitude and journaling. It was just a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And you still maintain those practices?
Some more than others, yes. I go in and out with some things, but I also know what to come back to. So if sometimes I feel a little bit like, you know, life's getting a bit too crazy, I'll always come back to my favourite things.
Which are for you?
Gratitude.
Yeah.
So doing, just some writing about, you know, the things that I'm grateful for. For me, that's probably the number one most powerful thing I ever did for myself, was focus on the things to be grateful for in my life already.
I love that you say that, because I work when I'm working with clients too. So often they find me when they're fairly broken. I love that they don't need fixing. They just need to find that within themselves. But the first thing we start with also is gratitude. And I get people to write a list of 100 things that they're grateful for. And they're not allowed to repeat the same thing. And then from there we just add 3 more things a day onto that list until it becomes a habit. And it's my list. I still keep it sometimes and I go back to it. Sorry?
A joy jar, which is just a little glass jar. So if something wonderful happens, I will write it on a bit of paper and put it inside my jar. So when you're feeling a little bit flat some days, you can go back and pull a piece of paper out and go, wow, look at that. That's, you know, it's a reminder of awesome things that happen. So, yeah, I have a joy jar.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And so what sort of changes can people expect when they start filling their life with more joy?
For me, I always say life's about feeling. Everything that we do is in conjunction with how it makes us feel. So we hang out with people so we feel something, we buy things to feel something. So for me, I always say it's about how we can change the way you feel about yourself and the world that you're in. So the changes that I get people to expect to see is that you will just feel differently about yourself. Because, most people go through their life being so hard on themselves, and they're so critical and so down on themselves that they fail to see how magnificent they already are. So for me as well.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I was one of those people once. I was my worst and toughest critic. I didn't even like looking at the mirror. I didn't like the person that was looking back at me. And, that I like you, Andrea, my gosh, I've got boxes of personal development books. I was after one seminar after another, and countless of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on retreats.
I can't even look at that.
But every dollar was spent wisely, every single dollar, and every dollar led me to the next stage of my personal growth. Personal development, it really clicked and changed for me when I realised that it was an inside job, that I had to actually crack the heart open and really be prepared to look in and ask the tough questions of myself. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I going to do? What do I want people to say? It's morbid, but at the end of my life, what do I want people to remember me for? And it's, you've got to start at the end sometimes and work your way back to uncover all the little jewels along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've got a question. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's not about thinking about the end of my life. It was more about me being proud of myself every day and being proud of who I was being and what I was doing whilst on this planet. So I think that was a real big draw card for me. So, who am I being while I'm here?
Nice.
It's my job to be the best me, or to pull out and draw out and coax out the things inside me that are magic. That's my job.
Well, it is, isn't it? And to be able to turn around and encourage other women to do that must be so incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, it's you can't even put it into words sometimes. I've got some wonderful testimonials from my personal training clients and some wonderful testimonials from ladies that I've worked with now. And just to be able to connect with someone and make a shift in their life that will I hate to use the word bleed, but it will kind of bleed into all the other areas of their life and affect everything that they do. And that's the magic of this, that you make changes for yourself, but the flow-on effects, you can't explain how much it will affect the rest of their life and their relationships and every area of their life. So it's not just a one-off change, it's a magical flow-on effect that will help them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, it's a big shift, isn't it?
It is.
Do you dive into the energy and the vibration and frequencies and attraction of energies with clients as well, Andrea?
I touch on it. I don't go into too deeply because I find that not everyone understands that. and it's not the main part of my what I teach to do that, but I absolutely touch on it for sure, because I think for me, and what we spoke about earlier, is that when you see people who are connected to their joyful thermostat, it's an energy, right? You get that, you feel it. So you can't help but touch on it, but I don't think I dive into it very deeply.
Okay, connecting to your joyful thermostat. Do tell more.
Well, as we've spoken about, that's how I see it. Is it's your thermostat. So it's your even level. Think of it, if you go into a room that's a really nice, comfortable temperature, you want that to be your thermostat, something that you're comfortable being in, that it makes you feel good, you feel safe, and you can rely on it to be like that. So that's why I use the word thermostat. But yeah, it's just when people are connected to that and tapped into that, that's when you feel that energy. That's what it is. You're magnetized to people who have that joyful thermostat, who have that why to show the world that. That's the life that I live every day, and that's what I want to teach everyone. So I
can see it. I can see it in you. As the more you're talking about it, the more vibrant you're coming. It's just bursting out of you. It's it's enigmatic. I'm catching it. You're beautiful, Andrea. Congratulations on what you've done.
Thank you. And I always like to say, if you had met me 10 years ago, you would not see this.
No, but you weren't.
Person.
Yeah, you weren't. You didn't know who that person was.
No, I didn't.
No, and that's a big one, isn't it? Because I mean, I'm in the same boat. It took me a long, long time to actually pull back the layers and the lies and the limiting beliefs and all of those things to actually see the truth and be okay with that, as you say, warts and all. Just be completely comfortable in your own skin. And to be honest, not everyone is going to like us. We're not going to like everybody. But they're not the ones that matter to us. Let someone else coach and teach and train them. Just find the ones that resonate. I think I've lost you. Can you hear me, Andrea?
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't think it's our job to like everybody. There's too many people. It's our job to like everybody. And that's okay, you know.
It is okay, for sure. So let's talk for a second about the difference between motivation and inspiration.
Well, it's like the joy and happiness thing, that one's inside and one's outside. So I really do believe that inspiration is the internal part, because if you break it down, it means to be in spirit, inspire. So for me, inspiration comes from within, and motivation is an external thing. So we're motivated to buy something different or to have something different. But yeah, the inspiration is your joyful thermostat. So when you live in inspiration, when you're connected to that joyful part of yourself, you don't need to be motivated.
Exactly.
You don't need motivation if you're living in inspiration and you're living through your joy. You don't need motivation. So that's what I've learnt from myself.
Yeah, in spirit. I have heard that said before. It's beautiful, because it's very, very true. And there's two parts, isn't there? Because we do need to do action as well. You can't spend half or 3/4 of your life in meditation and quiet, loving, peace and joy and all those things. You've still got to do the action to bring in the money, to bring in the clients, to do all that sort of stuff, to live, let's face it. But yeah, and that's where but if you are inspired, then that falls into flow, and it's so much easier.
In inspiration, you don't look for external things to motivate you, because you're being that inspiration for yourself.
Yeah, so true, so true. So, Andrea, tell us a little bit about your book.
Oh, wow. I love that you asked that. You know, can't tell by now, I'm happily to talk about anything like that. Yes, my book is called Permission to Shine, and I wrote it. It's been in my head for a long time, and that title has been in my head for a long time. It's about me, and it's about my journey from, you know, me growing up and feeling invisible to the things that I did to go through, really learning to love myself and learning to become the most tagline. And it talks about food, it talks about health, it talks about relationships. It's, you know, I break it down into all the different areas of our life, and I just write about the things that I did to change the way I felt about myself. So I was very excited to write that, but it's very cathartic, and I love that it's getting into the hands of the women who need to hear it.
It is. It's special. Very, very special. It has been released, the book?
Yes, it's been alive in the real world for about 6 weeks.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. What an amazing feeling.
Yeah, so it's very new, but I pre-sold quite a few copies before it was released, so that was a great little launch for it as well.
Fantastic. So just following on from that, Andrea, you would have had many, many tips throughout the book by the sounds of that. Can I ask you, I'm very big on asking for hot tips for people just to help them get some really fast and tangible results from our time together. So what would be your first tip to help people with their joy thermometer, their joy meter, their joyfulness overall?
I think the first thing is to really let go of thinking that there's something wrong with you. We have to let go of that thought, that we're broken, that there's something wrong with us, we're not good enough. We have to let go of that. And the need to be okay with whatever happens. So I know that's a very roundabout explanation. How we can just change the way you feel quite quickly. And when you go back to doing the gratitude stuff, it's very hard to write things that are going on that you're happy for and not start to feel good. So writing gratitude things. So I started, and it was hard in the beginning, but every night when I went to bed, I'd have my journal and I would force myself to find 10 things in the day that I can be grateful for. And that doing became something that started to shift how I felt and how I saw my life. Because it's, when you're in a place where you don't feel good, it's very hard to look at things that you can be grateful for. Do you find that with your clients?
Yeah, look, I have a big saying: if people can't find something to be grateful for, they're really not trying hard enough. The very fact that we're sitting there breathing in air, that we're alive, that we have a smartphone, we have kids, we have... Sorry, Andrea, I missed that.
I find that people are so conditioned and so used to being in that. You hear me?
No, I didn't get it again. I got I can. You're just breaking up a bit. So you find that people are conditioned to not being grateful? Andrea, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. So when I find that people have been, I can hear you, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
You there, Michelle?
Yes, I can hear you.
When people have been conditioned for a long time to be in a not feel good space, it does take a lot more time to shift that. So when we do the gratitude work, it takes them a bit of time to connect to that being grateful space, if that makes sense.
It does, it does. I have a very few energy tricks because I'm an energy healer, so I can help clients move through that really, really fast. I love the speed of which our world works now. In terms of energy, we don't have to do things the long, laborious, hard way anymore. It can be quite rapid with that mindset shift, that vibrational and frequency shift. Gratitude is right up there. Gratitude, joy, love, they're all the vibrations that allow fast shifts to happen.
Yes, I agree. So gratitude is a very, very powerful exercise, and it's like anything. It's like, going to the gym and working on your muscles. It's a muscle that you have to continually work on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It is. And as is our spiritual muscle, our heart muscle. They're all things that if they haven't been used for some time, they need to be strengthened and nurtured. And there's going to be some lactic acid in there too, isn't there? So, Andrea...
There is.
So tip number 2 from you.
Yes, so the gratitude will be the number one thing. And the second thing would just be to start being mindful and being present. So I run a free 5-day Facebook activity. I don't like to call it challenge because it's not a challenge. Yeah, I suppose it is a challenge. Your joy when life feels chaotic. So I just give them activities to do every day. And one of them is to start being present in everything that you do and to start appreciating the things. So even the mundane things like putting the clothes on the line, be in the moment and start seeing and just connecting to the moment. Because I think we live such busy lives and our brains are always somewhere else. Our minds and our hearts are always somewhere else. They're never in the moment. And I think that's the biggest thing that causes the most stress and anxiety for people and unhappiness is because they're not living and they're not being with themselves in the moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. I catch myself sometimes as well. I'll be thinking
so that's
about
my number 2 big tip is, be mindful and present. Even when you're putting the clothes on the line, even when you're doing...
Couldn't agree more, Andrea. Thank you. And number 3?
Yes, so I think that's number... So the best relationship you'll ever have is the relationship with yourself. So I ask women to start being open to them being the biggest love of their life.
Yeah, and that I can see would be quite a challenge for many.
Absolutely. It's just because they're not used to being in that space.
Yeah, many women aren't very good at receiving. They're very good at giving, but they're not very good at receiving. And to be able to truly be present within yourself, you have to allow yourself to receive all of the things that, the compliments that people give you that we blow off, Just like, oh, geez, you look good today. Oh, what? And this whole thing, it's we just blow it all off, don't we?
I used to be one of those. I used to be that person. Oh, you look great today. Oh, I didn't sleep well last night and blah, blah, blah. But now if someone says, I go, yeah, thanks. I said, I do look pretty, I scrub up okay, don't I? So
good on you. No, that's gorgeous.
Learning to be okay with whatever people give to you. And people don't say no. You're the only person that what you think of yourself matters.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's what you reflect out to the outside world anyway.
Yeah, and the life that you create is a reflection of how you feel about yourself.
Absolutely right. So I'm just going to write that one up there. The life that we create is a reflection. That's beautiful. And the third tip, Andrea.
That was the third tip, I think.
That was the third tip? There we go. We've covered them. Beautiful.
To see yourself as the biggest love. Yes, that's a third tip.
Beautiful. And it's, that's a journey in itself and one well worth taking the first step on.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting to note that people are more willing to spend money on external things. And they're a bit more fearful and to spend the money and invest in themselves. It's a really tricky minefield, I think.
It's a conundrum, that one, because investing on your spiritual self, your personal development, is a non-tangible. You can't go and show off your $1,000 handbag. You can't rip yourself apart and just say, look what I got, But it shows in time, it shows it's well worth it. As we mentioned before, I have spent so much money on personal development and professional development, spiritual development, coaches, mentors. And a lot of what I had to do early days, I had to do on a shoestring or free because we didn't have the money to invest in anything. There certainly were no $1,000 handbags in my closet.
Gosh,
so it was really quite challenging, and I think that's why I appreciate the journey so much more, because I valued everything that was given me. And now to the point where I just have so much joy in being able to pay that forward to others and reciprocate that generosity and kindness and love that was showered upon me. People truly saw so much more in me than I did. Yeah. So, Andrea.
And we always do, don't we? So when you're on the outside looking in, you can see what others can't.
Yeah, we are our toughest critics, aren't we? So, Andrea, I'd love for you to share, please, how people can find you.
Sure. Well, they can go to my website, which is just andreadix.com.au. And make sure they spell that D-I-X. And they can certainly just connect with me straight through that. It's the easiest way.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've had a look at your site. It's very vibrant. You jump on it, and it does make you feel very joyful. And you've done a great job with that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And folks, down into the show notes, you will find the links for Andrea. You do also, you mentioned you have a free giveaway for people that are wanting to step into this space with you?
Absolutely. Well, I have the two things. So if they connect with me this way or through Facebook, they can always jump into my free 5-day Finding Your Joy group. And in that group, they get the daily videos from me and things to do and play with that will start helping them on this journey. Or if they go to my website, there's a free download there, which is, I call it a joy pledge. So it's 15 things that you can start saying to yourself every day that will really help you start seeing the magnificence inside you already. So it's just something you can print off, something that's pretty, you can put on the wall somewhere and just look at every time. And just as a reminder of how make. So yes, there's a couple of free things there. And of course, if they would be interested in getting a copy of my book, they can get that through the website too.
Fantastic. And also send a contact request up to Andrea if you're interested in working one-on-one with her and interested in really skyrocketing your results. That's the best and the fastest and the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, and it's all about having fun. I said, I want people to enjoy life, not endure it. So my bigger group program is called Joy School. So it's just about let's go and learn how to be joyful.
Yeah, sounds good. I like it. So thank you, Andrea, so very much for hanging out with me this morning. And to all of the people that will stumble upon our recording, know that you're not here by accident. And we can and will and would love to support you on your journey. You can join us inside our online community on Facebook at Entrepreneurs Globally Unite. I am the creator and the founder of that group. You can also find me, Michelle Reinhardt, at mindsetenergyandhealing.com. And you can visit my site, find out all about what we do there and jump in, join in the community. It's when you're doing these sorts of work, this sort of journeying, it's vital that you are journeying with similar and like-minded souls. And you need that, the energy of that to keep you going, because it is a journey worth taking, but it's not always easy. And if you've got someone there to help you pick you up and dust you off when, slap you around the ears, whatever you need, we'll do that joyfully for you. So thank you, Andrea, for joining us. Thank you, guests, for hanging out with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. So that's it from us, folks, for this week. See you in the group. Until we see you next time, shine bright. Remember, that's why you're here. And I send love, light and blessings into your day, your week and your life. Bye for now. Bye, Andrea.